Hey, you just got me demonetized. What'd you say? Hey, you can be in our party, bro. You want to commentate? Good luck, boys. Have fun. Don't kill anyone. Make sure that your sharing is on, just in case. Always allow. Yep, we're good. All right, dude. I'm excited. I'm ready.
I am too. I am currently trying to send to everybody all these chats, but I cannot find. Oh, there it is. Use that one. I will send it to the forum server.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm doing. And the lobby is set up wrong. We're doing a 3-lap race here, boys. So, here we are in the UDL sprint race. Oh, okay, never mind. It's fixed itself. Alright, Alright. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the UDL F1 League Season 2, the beginning of a new year here in the UDL F1 League. As always, my name is Mr. Damage, and as always, I'm here with John. How are we doing today, John?
I am doing great. It's so good to be back here doing another season of UDL F1. I'm ready to see some great competition this year. All the drivers have seemed to really tighten up on their pace, and I think it's going to be some great battles this year.
I 100% agree with you. We have a lot of fast drivers here today. I was in a practice session before this, kind of scouting it out, seeing what guys were doing, and man, everybody was fast. A lot of drivers in the 121 second range. And to put this into perspective for you all, the pole position lap last season here in Australia was a 1:22.0. Most drivers here, at least 5 to 10 drivers in the practice session without the max fuel mixture, were in the 121s. That's how much faster and closer this grid has gotten here today. I'm ready to rock.
Great. It's going to be great for competition. That being said, looking at these drivers, you know, knowing the grid lineup from last year, it is very strange seeing some of these drivers in other cars, like Snipper Pig, our former UDL F1 Season 1 champion in the Ferrari this time around, along with his teammate Sinister Owl.
Alright, so as always, I will follow around somebody for the very first lap of the qualifying session, and I will follow around Racer X in his new seat at Alfa Romeo as he comes into the very tricky turn 1-2 complex. A very fast chicane there, as now we go to the DRS zone and open it up on the run to turn 3, the very tight hairpin, the site of Fernando Alonso's sensational crash here in 2016, and that McLaren now sweeping through turn 4, very tough turn, and now turn 5, high commitment corner that one is. It's flat if you hit it perfectly. Now we're on the brakes here for for another chicane to turn 6 and 7, the site of Pastor Maldonado's early exit in 2012, and now coming up towards the 9-10 chicane, the hardest chicane on the track, in my opinion. Very easy to lose the car on both of those curbs. Those curbs are killer. As now we come around the banana towards the next DRS detection zone and through turns 11 and 12, the best corners on this track, as Racer X actually loses the back end through there. That is why that section is so hard. As now we're going through this DRS zone into turn 13, a very tough corner to brake for correctly. And now turn 14, a very fun corner. You bring it out to that curbing, and then into the turn 15 penultimate corner hairpin, and then now to turn 16, the final corner, and back onto the DRS, down the main straight, and that is your lap. So Snipper Pig already showing his pace here with a 120.9, a full second and some change ahead of Honos in P2.
It is very impressive to see the commitment these drivers are putting in at this track this time around. You can obviously tell last season it was very, people were definitely just getting started. They didn't really have that full commitment in most of these corners, but after a full season and coming back here, they are on it instantly. They were ready for this season, and they're going to start off strong.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. These guys have been practicing all off-season for this race, and it's really going to show here today, I believe. We already have 2 drivers faster than last season's pole time in the top 2, and I know there's going to be a lot more drivers filling in that gap. We've got a lot of fast drivers here in this field. The strength of field is unbelievable compared to last season, as now we're following Sinister Owls. He comes around the final corner and sets a 121.7 to put himself into P2. Zeus in P4 for that Haas team. Him and Pecan moving from the Ferrari team to the Haas. Glen Coco in that nice, beautiful black and yellow liveried Renault is in P5.
There's a spin from Get That Money and Run in the Red Bull.
Man, this is so weird. Dollar High goes up into P7 in that Toro Rosso, which will be rebranded AlphaTauri for 2020. By the way,
can I just say it is very good to see Impulse back in the driver's seat for this season after driving, I think, only 2 or 3 races last season.
Yeah, unfortunately, whenever we changed from Saturdays to Sundays, Impulse took the brunt end of that. We knew we were going to lose racers, but we knew we were going to gain more than we lost, and sadly, he was one of the racers that we did lose, but thankfully, he has the time to be here for these races now, and he is now in the Red Bull car with Get That Money and Run, last year's double championship winners with the drivers and constructors championships. And while we were talking about Impulse's return, Greco put in a beautiful lap time of a 121.440 to put himself into P2, slot himself between those 2 Ferraris. As now there are only 4 drivers left who have not set a time: Shawsome, Boknos, Pecan, and Kill the Birdman. Boknos, one of the only drivers to stay in the same car he was in at the end of last season in that Mercedes. He is paired with Greco Draybird. That is going to be a very tough duo, and we're going to have some serious battles in this Constructors Championship this year.
Glen Coco got turned in just a little too early on that second chicane and hit a little bit.
I'm going to follow around Kill the Birdman for a little bit as he comes through the sector through turn 3 and 4. Super hard at that exit of turn 4 because of those sausage curbs there in that parking lot. If you touch those sausage curbs, you are going wide, and it will cost you quite a lot of time. So it's definitely very important for these drivers to try to stay away from those very deadly curbs. Let's see who else we have on a hot lap right now. We have Bokonos on a hot lap, as well as Kill the Birdman. Greco is on an in lap at the moment, or a cooldown lap 1. Pecan just started his first flying lap of the session in that Haas, and a Ferrari just came out of the pit lane of Sinister Owl. We have a full course caution, it looks like. There's a caution in Sector 3 for a driver of some sort. most likely on their out lap. As now Kill the Birdman is coming through the final sector now, up towards turn 15, and then now through the and he pulls into the pit lane. Shawson right behind him, starting his first flying lap. Bokonos coming through the penultimate corner now. Let's see what kind of lap time he can put down. It looks like it might be pretty good, as we have a racing point of Shawson, who spun at the final corner coming onto his first flying lap. So that's going to be a huge detriment to him.
The commitment these drivers are putting in on these laps now is like night and day from last season. Kind of impressive.
Yeah, it's really nice seeing these drivers practice so hard and get this much faster compared to last season. It's really nice seeing it. As we have yet another yellow flag in sectors 1 and 2 as Pecan comes across the line to set a 121.888, put himself into P4. Now we have 5 drivers faster than last year's pole time. Just incredible how much faster all of these drivers are getting here compared to last year. It's quite amazing.
Okay, that was a very close call from Bokonos, going very slow with losing front wing elements.
Honos as well missed that chicane, and he is in the grass. So something happened there, I'm thinking, as all these drivers getting out of the way of the drivers on their hot laps, like Diltak here in the Alpha. Let's see who we have in the third sector now. Honos was off of the track. Dollarhide starting a lap, so we'll jump back over to Dilsak in that Alfa Romeo to see if he can improve on 23 to get himself a little bit higher in that top 10 as he comes across the line now, and he will set a 122.9, put himself into P8. So as a quick shout out here to last season's qualifying grid, last year P10
just quick update, the Ferraris are now sitting 1-2. Sinister Owl put in a 121.225, putting him in second place.
Super Pig is only 9,000ths of a second off of his first flying lap. Let's see if his Sector 3 will be better than his last Sector 3. Racerettes sets a time of 121.7 to put himself into P4. Let's see if Super Pig can improve. He does not. He does improve. There's a 120.789. Some good numbers there. So last season, P10 on the grid set a 124.043. All the way through P15, every driver to set a lap so far has beaten that time. That is how much better the strength of field is here today.
That's incredible, especially considering a lot of these drivers are returning, so that just shows how much improvement they've had throughout that first UDL season.
You have Real Space Hero in a very unfamiliar color to me in that papaya orange and blue McLaren. So he goes into the pit lane. It's going to be weird getting used to all these drivers in these different livery cars.
Yeah, it's very strange, especially with our front runners that we're used to seeing, you know, Snipper Pig in that Red Bull and Pecan in the Ferrari, you know, and Sinister Owl being the Renault. It's strange, all three of them being in different cars.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable the teams we have here in this season. As Kill the Birdman for Williams goes up into P7. Good strong showing, and yet another driver right on the cusp of last year's pole time. So he gets out of the way of Glenn Coco, who is on his next flying lap. I'm going to jump over to Greco in that Mercedes, and he backs off of his lap. It looks like he might have cut that chicane just a little bit, and he loses his lap. As now Zeus comes around to start his next flying lap, get that money and run, stopped on track to get out of the way of some drivers here.
Impulse moves up to P9 with a 122.498.
Wow,
getting him in that top 10.
This is unbelievable. So P5 last season was a 122.813. Through to P11 is faster than that. And I'm sure more drivers will improve.
Incredible.
It's great seeing this many drivers that are on the pace here. As Greco goes to start another lap, a nice cool down there, built up his ERS deployment once again, and that Mercedes will be flying around this track, trying to set the second 1 minute 20 of the session. The only driver to do so far is Snipperpig 007 in that Ferrari.
You know, it has to be said, you know, with the showing of just this qualifying session and then the first preseason race in WEC, it looks like the UDL is really starting to get in its stride and bring in that top tier talent. So I have a feeling we're only at the beginning. It's only going to be better.
Seuss is coming around the final corner on what looks like a cooldown lap as is off of the pace. There was somebody else behind him coming out in the final corner. It was Shawsome. Shawsome puts in his first lap of the session, and it's good enough for P3. So great pace there from the Racing Point driver to put the Pink Panther into P3 on the timesheets.
Very impressive.
As now Greco comes around the final corner with only 3.5 minutes left in this session. And let's see if he can go into the... He does not. He's a 121.041. Puts that Mercedes on the front row. And as soon as Shawsome got into the top 3, he got pushed down to P4. And Greco once again is splitting the two Ferraris. We got Sinister Alba coming around to start his flying lap. Let's see who else we have. Racer X stopped on track to allow some drivers through. Hono's coming through the final sector now up towards the penultimate corner. Let's see if he will be improving on his lap or not. He does take the final corner in that papaya orange McLaren. And he will come across the line to set a 121.280. Put himself into P4. Amazing how close these drivers are in this qualifying session. 1,000th of a second between P4 and P5. Dollar High puts in a 122.014, puts himself into P8, and the Haas of Zeus goes a 121.670 and goes into P6. This is incredible.
8 drivers in the 121s and 2 just outside the 121s. It's incredible.
This is an insanely high strength of field this season compared to last, and I'm very happy to be commentating over this.
The final corner right now.
Real Space Hero sets a 122.5. He goes up into P12. Dilsack does not improve on his time. He is around 2.5 tenths off, so Real Space Hero promotes himself up into P12. And Space last season was our assistant driver. He was always thereabouts in the points, but with this strength of field, Space is really going to have to put in just that little bit more to be able to get into that battle in the points championship like he was in last season.
Racer X coming to finish his flying lap now. Improves into 6th place with a 121.642.
See who else we have coming around the final corner. We have a couple of cars coming through the final few corners now. There's a Toro Rosso going into the pit lane, as well as the papaya orange McLaren going into the pit lane. Racer X has retired from the session. Let's see, Zeus is coming through the final sector, but he is going slowly. The McLaren of Greco or Bocanos, whichever one, is just chilling out there.
Real Space Hero is coming through the final corner now, and he dives into the pits.
There's a Williams backwards on the track. That is Drew Yu. He spun it. Greco finally makes it to the pit lane. Let's see, Pecan is a 1/10.5 up on his last time at the Sector 1 timing mark. See who else we have on a lap. Sinister Owl coming up towards the final corner, but he peels off into the pit lane, so his qualifying session will be over. Snipper Pig just started his final qualifying lap of the session. Let's see what else we have here. Pecan going into the third sector now as the time runs out. Pecan is 2.5 tenths up. If he continues at this pace, he will jump up 2 more spots on the grid. Bokonos has been disqualified from the session. That is pretty big. So Pecan coming around the final corner now. He will set a 121.465, puts himself into P6. Next to cross the line will be Get That Money and Run, I believe, as he peels into the pit lane. The Williams of Drew Yu will continue on.
Zeus is in the final sector right now, and he goes into the pit lane.
Let's see who else we have on track. Let's see. We have Glen Coco, Kill the Birdman, and Snipper Pig on their flyers. Snipper Pig coming into the penultimate corner now. Gets a little bit of grass in the braking zone. Let's see if he can improve on his time and make it that much farther out of reach for these drivers. Let's see what he can do here. He comes across the line and sets a 120.430. What a statement there from the Ferrari driver.
Incredible.
And Kill the Birdman.
Very confident in that Scuderia Red Ferrari.
Kill the Birdman comes across the line. Glen Coco is going slowly, so that will be your qualifying session. Snipper Pig with a 120.430, almost 2 seconds faster than last year's pole time. With Greco and a very strong P2 for that Mercedes, splitting the 2 Ferraris at the front of this field. Honos in P4 in that Papaya Orange. Awesome in P5. Pecan in P6 in his new seat at Haas. Racer X in P7 in the Alpha, and Zeus, the other Haas driver, in P8. P9 will be Dollar Hyde in the Toro Rosso, and P10 Kill the Birdman in the Williams. And he went 0.03 of a second slower than last season's pole time, and he's in P10.
That is just incredible. The caliber of drivers and just the pace that they are setting is just night and day to last year. It is incredible.
That was an amazing qualifying session here. The first qualifying session of the new season. I mean, we couldn't have started off with a better qualifying session. That was great.
Yeah.
As now we will all leave the lobby for the lobby reset. And so, now that the qualifying session is over, I will go over all of the drivers in every team for this season. So the champion last season, Snipper Pig, selected the Scarlet Red Ferrari, as we know, and he picked Sinister Owl as his teammate. A very strong pairing there in the Ferraris. Pecan finished second in the championship, and he selected the Haas team with Zeus, his teammate at the end of last year, will carry over into this year. Breezy, the third place finisher in the standings last season, selected Real Space Hero for the Alfa Romeo at first, but then he changed his pick and decided to drive with Racer X for next season. So then we will scroll down in this list. Honos picked Real Space Hero for the Papaya Orange McLaren team. Very strong lineup there. Very consistent lineup in those two drivers. Bossman picked Shawsome as his teammate, and they are in the racing points. And Greco picked Bokonos for that Mercedes team. Get That Money and Run and Impulse, as we can see, our teammates in the Red Bulls for this season. Very nice to see Impulse back on the grid here. Dollar Hyde picked Ref Josh as his teammate for Season 2. But Ref Josh sadly is not here for this race. as well as Breezy. Breezy is not here. Lucas selected Glenn Coco as his teammate for the Renault, but Lucas sadly did not make it here. We have a couple of drivers that didn't make it, 4 to be exact. We have 16 drivers for today's grid, I am pretty sure, and Glenn Coco was picked, so that gave Kill the Birdman the last pick in the Williams car, and he selected the man, the myth, the legend, Drew Yu, 24.
And it was stated many times last season that Drew Yu is officially the greatest driver in the UDL.
Absolutely. So I am sending the messages out for an interview. That was an amazing qualifying session. Hello, Alex. How are you doing? We got Apex in the chat. We got our good friend Hefty Bag cheering on Drew Yu. Teammates from the end of last season in the Racing Point Pink Panthers. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Died in a helicopter crash today. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Black Mamba.
Is that an actual thing?
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh, I did not know this.
Yep.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to the Black Mamba. Oh, and also congratulations to all of the winners in the 24 hours of Daytona that ended today at 1:40. The number 10 car, Ricky Taylor entry, won the overall race. And then we had in the LMP2 category, the Dragon Speed car coming out with the win. I was very happy to see the Dragon Speed car win that race. Everybody loves a little bit of WEC. And then for the second year running, BMW were the winners in the GTLM category. I'm
very excited for that.
And to round it all off in GTD, Lamborghini took the top 2 spots. As now we have Racer X in the party. Racer X, make sure your voice is sharing.
Hello, am I here?
Yeah, make sure your voice is sharing in party, and then like go to your party settings and make sure, and then we'll be ready to rock. All right.
Yep, it's allowed. Okay.
All right. So Racer X, first of all, how do you feel about your qualifying session today?
I'm gonna be honest. I think I was a little bit messy. It's a very tricky track when it comes to qualifying, because you got a lot of straights that have very deep braking zones, especially turns 1 and 2. I kind of messed up a little bit on that, and turns 11 and 12. That's definitely gonna be the trickiest one. Qualifying wasn't the greatest, but I feel like I have the race pace. My goal is to hopefully be somewhere in the top 5 at least for today's race.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be an insanely close field here today. I mean, I brought it up in the broadcast at the end of qualifying. The top 10 drivers are either faster or very close to last season's qualifying time.
Which that actually leads me into a question. How do you feel the field is this year compared to last season? From your perspective?
Stronger. I would say it's a lot stronger competition, that's for sure. I would say a lot of my competition, I would say going into this, Snipper Pig's obviously the biggest one. You know, he's the champion from last year in the UDL. Sinister Al, I mean, even though he had some bad luck last year, he's definitely got pace to be like, I think he's to be like at least at the top. I think he could at least win maybe a couple races. It's as long as the luck's on his side. And of course,
especially with his new teammate helping him out with setups and.
Yeah, exactly. But also like Breezy, who unfortunately he's not here today because he's at work. But I feel with me and Breezy, we're definitely going to be like the contenders for the constructors, because we're both like consistent. I think we can at least be in the top 5. If we can do that, I would say we can definitely do good in the constructors.
Yeah, I told John this earlier. I really think that the Constructors Championship this year is going to be so tight. I mean, we have some very stacked teams for this season. We have Bocanos and Greco in the Mercedes. We have Snipper and Sinister in the Ferraris. We have Pecan and Zeus in the Haas team. Honos and Real Space Hero in the McLarens. Bossman and Shawsome in the Racing Points. Yourself and Breezy in the Alphas. Like, the strength of field in every team is absolutely phenomenal. And we can't forget about the man, the myth, the legend, the best driver in the league, Drew U24.
Yes,
we cannot forget.
Yep.
He is self-proclaimed, so you know it's true.
Right, exactly. No, it's just a really strong field. It's just I'm really excited to be a part of this field too, along with all these competitors. It's just I think it's going to be really exciting for this year.
Yeah, I really feel like this is going to be definitely a better season than last year. I mean, all the races this year are going to be so exciting. In my opinion, this is definitely going to be way better.
If I may, I just, from commentary to racer, when we get to the round of Belgium, please do not have a massive crash in turn 1.
Actually, I think it was actually in Puhan, which is I believe
it was
7. But yeah.
No, there was actually one in Arouge and Radion and then Puhan. So.
Yeah, no, I know. That was that was my bad too, because like I remember in that race I had my tires at like 65, I want to say, at 65% wear on the softs. And I was like, maybe I'll try to push it just to see how far I can go with these tires. And I was like, nope, that's a big mistake, and I rubbed the curb.
Yeah.
And I took Bossman with me.
Yeah, that race last year was, I guess the best way to say it was just action packed. I don't really know. I don't really know what else to say about it. Almost every race last year was really fun to watch. I mean, commentating from Monaco on throughout the season, both myself and John, we watched a lot of good races. I mean, it was very rare that we had a bad race to watch.
Well, you mentioned Monaco. I mean, even though I was only a part of the first race, like when the first try of Monaco, not the second, but like when I saw the footage of the second race when Sinister crashed into turn 1, oh my gosh, it made me laugh so hard.
We are really hoping for Sinister's sake that does not happen this season.
Yeah,
I do. I wish the best for him, really. I do.
I think that everybody in the UDL League and everybody watching is rooting for Sinister to get his first career victory at some point here in this season. I mean, the guy was so unlucky last season. Every time he had strong pace and was there to win, something happened. It was really sad to see, because we all know that he has the pace. And so and we always said, I mean, me and John every week said that if Sinister could find that consistency, he would be a multi-time race winner and a championship contender. He just has to find that consistency. If he can get there.
I totally agree. Yeah.
If he can get there, man. I mean, he's in that Ferrari seat. It's going to be a very strong seat this season. It's going to be tough.
Oh yes, especially with him being with the champion, Snipper Pig. I mean, heck, he had like 7 wins. I mean, most have anybody. I mean, I'm lucky to manage to even get 1. I mean, I know what you're gonna say this about my incident with Balkanos, but like, yeah, I mean, that obviously that's my fault for turning into him. It was a incident I do regret, but I mean, I did win the race nonetheless. But we did make up and apologize, and I apologized for that, and he was cool with me. But like it's kind of like what you said. It's like it's all about having consistency. When you're on when you're trying to be in the top, you gotta it's mostly about not just consistency, but about patience.
Yeah,
that's what I find in these kind of races. Like, I know in F1 we do a lot of the you go into multiplayer sessions, you have 5-lap races or whatever, and see who can go fast and all that stuff in a sprint race. But it's just it's all about patience, and I think that's what I need to do too.
All right, well, the race lobby is starting up. Thank you for your time, Racer. It's been a pleasure.
Really good talking to you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Good luck
enjoy
to you
watching the
guys.
race.
Good luck to you guys in the
Great
Alpha
luck.
Camp, and good luck to you. And hopefully we can see you on the podium here today.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
That was Racer X, the Alfa
I think
Romeo
that
driver.
went really well for first interview of the season.
Absolutely. So, here comes the fun question, John. What is our podium for today?
You know, I don't want to be the guy to say it, but Snipper Pig coming off of a championship win and his dominating pace in qualifying, I think he's going to be in first. But as far as
This is where it gets hard.
As far as second and third, honestly, it could go to anybody in the top 10. Like, I feel like everybody has the consistency, so any mistakes can basically ruin someone's race.
Yeah.
And they all have the pace to be there. If I had to guess, it would be someone in the top 5, but I see potential for anyone in the top 10 to get the second and third.
As we all know, the top 10 drivers have to be on the soft compound tires that they qualified on, and every driver except for Glenn Coco and Drew Yu are on the soft compound tires. We also have Bossman and the Stig filling in for Lucas and Bossman making the race here for the Racing Point team. So we have a 19-man grid here. Nice to see this grid filled out, and it's gonna be fun. My podium, I mean, Snipper is an easy pick for the lead just from his dominance in qualifying. We know what his pace is like, very consistent. I feel like Greco and Sinister, and Honos and Shawsome and Pecan and Racer X and Zeus and Dollar, and you get the point.
Yeah.
Everybody really has a shot to win this race. If anybody makes a mistake at any point, I mean, time penalties for corner cutting are going to be huge. I mean, a 3-second time penalty with how close this field is could drop you 5 positions. I mean, if the race goes like qualifying did, we're going to have a very fun race.
See, that's why I just couldn't really say my second and third, because it really could be anyone.
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I am very ready.
I am ready. Oh, my heart is pounding. My monster is cold. And I'm ready for Season 2. Kick it off here in Melbourne. Round of the F1 League Championship here in United Drivers League. As the drivers are starting to fill their grid slots now. Snipper Pig once again on pole position. The Mercedes splitting the 2 Ferraris in the top 3. The McLaren of Honos P4 and Shawsome in P5 for the Racing Point team. As now we wait for the lights to go out. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5, and the lights are out, and away we go. We have a huge collision already in the back as there's a jump start for a couple of different drivers here. Snipper Pig gets off to a really good start. So does Greco and Sinister Owl. They go through their single file. The 2 Haas drivers, the Racing Point driver of Shawsome, and Shawsome has a very disappointing start to this GP. The Toro Rosso of Dollar Hyde with a great move around the outside, and crash here, and Shawsome is getting pushed around the circuit like a pinball, and there's now a huge crash, and Shawsome. Oh my.
While all that was happening, Get That Money Run, Bossman, and Drew Yu were all disqualified.
Wow. Happened there? I know somebody jumped a collision before the start even happened.
I did see a couple people back.
now we hear in the slipstream of Snipper Pig. He's going to be looking to the inside here at turn 3, but not quite close enough to get the move done. Snipper Pig holding on to it for now in that Ferrari. Dollar High gets a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Impulse, and Impulse drops down the leaderboards in that Red Bull. So after
they're already pushing.
After the first lap, hold on. What's just happened?
What?
My order is very off. It's showing Shawsome in P1. And
Shawsome is P5.
Okay, there we go. It fixed itself. Okay. So after lap 1, we have Snipper Pig in P1, Greco in P2, Sir Owl in P3, and Honos in P4, the exact same places as their grid positions. Pecan had a very good first lap and first corner nevertheless, and got up into P5 with Bokanos in P6. A great start from him after starting all the way down in a lowly P17. Wonderful start for him to get all the way up into P6 by the end of the first lap. Glen Coco MP7 on those medium compound tires. Real Space Hero MP8, Dulsac P9, and the Stig, another great start from the back of the field, MP10. As now they are coming through the middle sector here once again. Snipper Pig going defensive here into the penultimate corner. Greco looking to the outside, but not quite close enough to make any sort of move, as now they come around the final corner. And once they cross the line, DRS will be enabled, as it will be lap 3. Honos sets the fastest lap of the race, and we have a 4-car train here at the front of this field.
They are really pushing it out of the gate.
I mean, these 4 drivers have already built a 5.5-second gap to Pecan in P5. That is insane. These drivers have some serious pace here at the beginning of the session, as Pecan has left the session.